Hi everybody, Adam here. Welcome back to our Lego room. In today's video, excited to be looking at our latest round of Bricklink Designer Program deliveries. Really big fan of the Bricklink Designer Program. I think we get a lot of amazing sets through this particular side of things, and a lot of very unique and interesting sort of concepts and sets that would never likely appear as full-fledged Lego sets. So really cool, I think, that they do this, and really happy to be able to add these to our collection. We actually received most of these a few weeks ago now, but we just received our Thieves of Tortuga set just the other day. So I waited for the full complement to arrive before doing this walkthrough. So let's take a closer look at each one of these sets. So first up, we have set number 910052, the Popcorn Wagon by Michael T. And this set contains 594 pieces. Really cool concept. Love the idea of a little food cart, food stall that can be put in and amongst the buildings in a city. A really nice looking set overall. I love the colors and the way they've set up the wagon, but just also really love the fact that this will fit very nicely, I think, into a lot of different cities that people might have that they're building and working on. I really wish that there were more sets this size in the Bricklink Designer Program. I think we get a lot of amazing large-scale sets, but I think some more at this size and price point would probably be, very welcomed by, a broad group of people in the community. And I think it opens up some really interesting sort of companion builds, let's say, that you could get from sets like this. I'm going to put this together, add it to our city with a number of food trucks and that. I think it'll make a nice little section of our city. And, I just love the fact that this is kind of that, fits into that, it's not like a full-fledged building, but, something that would complement and work very well with our city. Now, if we carefully flip this around to the back, you can see the back side of the build here. Again, big fan of what they've done with the wagon. I think it's really cool. Lots of great little details inside to sort of accentuate the popcorn business, but also love the sort of stone roadway or sort of area that the wagon is on. Love that we've got some really cool looking lights here with some plants as well. Just a really fun and nice build. So can't wait to put this together. I think, like I said, it's going to be a great addition to our city. And we definitely need to work on a nice little area with food trucks, this particular popcorn wagon, and a few other builds, and see if we can make a fun little sort of city center square or something like that. But big fan of the set and a great addition to our collection. Next up, we've got set number 910051, Mushroom Village, designed by Jonas Cram. This set contains 2,436 pieces, and this is a great looking set on its own, but I think it's going to be a great companion to a previous Bricklink Designer Program set that we picked up that's in the same sort of vein of a mushroom building that could be in a village. So looking forward to having these both built and together. This is a set that I'm going to put on Mills modules. I think that this particular set with the other set that we have could be an interesting starting point for a collection of builds that could be on mills and that we might take out, to shows in the future to display, or at a minimum that we want to sort of display in a part of the Lego room here. So I love this. I think it's a really cool concept. I like the idea of all the people living in this sort of natural world. A lot of excellent flower and mushroom builds here. Great flower in the background. Love the shape on this mushroom. Love the different buildings and the shapes that they have, as they're all sort of reminiscent of mushrooms and other things in the natural world. I assume this is kind of like a windmill up here. Just a really, really fun, whimsical build. And like I said, I think the two of them together will be great. We'll spread this out over a few different mills modules and see where it goes from there. And honestly, even if it doesn't go much farther than that, I think that these will be great display pieces, and looking forward to having them built. And then taking a look at the back of the box, really love the fact that they show the back of the set here. I think it makes complete sense. A fun and nice little touch for these particular boxes. And, just continue to really like all of the natural elements that they've included in here. So many great pieces. It gives me some interesting ideas for other landscaping that I could do around our layout here. As you can see, all the different buildings are not closed on the back. It doesn't bother me in particular. If we needed to at some point, we could always design backs for each of those buildings. But, again, just a really cool looking build, and should be fun to not only put together, but then to see on display here in the Lego room. Next up, we have Lego set 910050, Antique Shop, designed by Stephen Anger. This set contains 1,918 pieces, and in my opinion, is a really cool concept. I think this is an amazing looking building, and I plan on getting this mounted onto mills and having it, at least initially moved into our Lego city. It may move around over time, but I think that this is an excellent, excellent building for a number of different reasons. Really love what they've done with the roof here and having the windows mounted on the side of the roof. I think that looks amazing. We'll flip this around in a moment and you'll see how these roof panels come off so you can access the interior of the second floor. Another cool concept, I think. Also, big fan of the awnings out front here. A nice pop of color against the white and black of the building, and I think an underutilized feature on a number of Lego buildings. So really cool, I think, that they included that there. I love the landscaping elements along the side of the wall there. And we've got a nice tree coming out the other side over there. A cool truck that comes with the set too. So this should be a lot of fun to build and will be a great addition to our Mills City modules. Looking forward to seeing how this comes together. We'll definitely get power running through the base here. I think that some interior lights would be nice, as well as the ability to have lighting outside on the sidewalk. This is also very much a build that could end up in a full-fledged Lego city, or even more of like kind of a Lego village seaside sort of situation where you've got sort of a more laid-back city and a bit more casual, lots of tourists, lots of different ways that you could sort of utilize or position this building. But overall, really happy with how it looks, and I think it's going to be a great addition here. And if we flip it around, like I mentioned there, you can see the two roof panels come off there to let you access that upper floor. Reminds me a bit of how the A-frame cabin is put together. But a really nice touch. I think a great way to be able to access that part of the build. And yeah, like I said, I think this is a very cool building and looking forward to getting this built. Next up, we have Lego set 910053, The Thieves of Tortuga, designed by Taylor Anderson. This set contains 4,002 pieces, and I just really love this from a couple of different perspectives. One, I think that pirates are really cool. I think Lego pirates are awesome, and it's kind of an underserved part of the Lego market. So really cool to see a set like this that is geared towards that type of set and that sort of theme in general. I don't know initially what we will do with the set. We will build this, we'll get it on display. I think it would be fun to kind of upsize it at some point and do sort of a more or a larger scale set of pirate themed buildings and, a harbor. Not sure exactly when or sort of how we will do that, but that's kind of what this set sort of starts to stir in my head and the ideas that start to flow out. But I think it's really well done. I love all the details throughout the little city village there. I think they've done a great job with the roof elements on each of the buildings. I think the little bridge there is nice. The different sort of architectural styles. Love the little sort of pier element here where they're all fishing off of. Some great trees. Really, really nice all around. So looking forward to building it, looking forward to putting it together. This is one, though, that really does sort of, I view this as more of a jumping off point for potential builds that we could do in the future. So looking forward to seeing how it goes together and sort of the ideas that come up through that process of changes that we might make and things that we might add to it to really sort of build it out and to do some more interesting things with the pirate theme. Now let's switch it around to the back of the box. And the back of the box here is a bit more of a tilt down view on the build. Again, a lot of really cool elements in here. I think we'll be able to pair this up with a number of other Lego pirate sets and have some pretty cool display areas. But, like I said, really excited about potentially taking this farther and building out some more fully featured pirate related buildings and ships and a harbor, etc. So really happy with this set, though. I think in the short term it's going to look really cool on display, and excited to see what sort of ideas it kickstarts for us. Now, last but definitely not least, we have Lego set 910049. The Adventure in Transylvania set. This was designed by Sleepless Night and contains 4,056 pieces, which is massive. The largest set in this set of 5 Bricklink Designer Program sets. And just super awesome what they've managed to do with this building. Love the concept and the overall look of the structure. Very sort of Gothic, I think would be how you would describe it. Really, really well done. Some great minifigures in there too, but I'm looking forward to putting this together just to see how they've managed to recreate all of these amazing details. And this is another one that I feel like, could be a jumping off point for some really impressive different buildings and a fun little sort of mini world that you could build out around this particular building here. So really interested in putting this one together and seeing how it comes together and what sort of ideas that starts to sort of generate. You can see here on the back of the box, the rooms are open on the inside, which is cool. You get to see some of the different little story elements that are going on in there. Nice touches, I think. Not particularly bothered by the fact that it is open on the back. I do generally like to have my builds kind of closed off and contained, but this doesn't bother me, at least in the short term here. And like I said, just really amazed by the work that they've done here, and we will definitely, I think, have a lot of fun putting this together and looking forward to seeing what sort of ideas it generates. I definitely get sort of monster hunter, monster fighter vibes looking at the castle building and sort of the coloring of the building. I think there's a lot of cool ways to sort of build on this, tie it in with some other Lego sets and themes, and really come up with a cool looking world. So should be a lot of fun, but this is definitely one of those ones, like I said, like we get sets through this program that would never see the light of day otherwise. And I think we're all better off for seeing amazing work like this, and like all these sets, really, really impressive. I always really appreciate putting together sets designed by other people in the Lego community. Gives you sort of an eye-opening lesson on some different techniques and different ways that people go about solving different problems, whether it be creating shapes, making certain connections. It's really, really cool to see how other builders go about solving these different problems. So super happy with this set. I think that, it's definitely the largest and probably in some ways the most ambitious with some of the different elements they've managed to recreate in Lego form here. So really excited about this one and looking forward to putting it together, and also starting to look at other buildings and different sort of world elements that could be paired up with it. So overall, really excited with all the different sets in this latest round of the Bricklink Designer Program. Super happy to have been able to pick up all of these sets. Really cool deliveries to end up receiving. And like I said, I think some really amazing work here by the different designers. Looking forward to getting these built and either on display on sort of the periphery of the room, or in some cases, integrated into our layouts. And looking forward to seeing some of the other builds that we are able to sort of generate based on the ideas that we learn here to pair up with each of these buildings. Now, if you have not subscribed to the channel, please make sure to do so that you don't miss out on any of our upcoming videos. A lot of different builds and a lot of different projects on the go at the moment in the Lego room, but a ton of cool videos coming up on the channel, and looking forward to continuing to build out our layouts and continuing to build out our display areas around the Lego room. Thank you very much for watching, and we will see you again soon. Take care. Bye.